Thanks for joining us again. A Pet Sematary film, Jared. This will kind of... Actually, no, it won't. I thought it was going to knock over the entire Pet Sematary series because we've done the original and we've done Bloodline, but there's still a remake.
Yeah,
Forgot about that.
May as well delve into that too.
Yeah, we'll get into that soon. But we're going to do Pet Sematary 2 today. But before we get to that, Jared, what have you been watching?
Well, I've just been chatting to you about the Dynasty.
Yep.
Continuing on with that, I let it go for a week or so because they were releasing 2 episodes every Friday, our time.
Yep.
So I watched the first couple, but then I just let it bank up. So I've got sort of 4. I think I had 4 episodes in the can. So I watched. I'm up to the episode where they bring up the cheating, the Spygate.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Really enjoy it. It's not everybody is chatting, but really important players are chatting. They do go pretty deep into it. It's pretty solid work. Like, I love a good sports doco. This one was, I was kind of touch and go because I don't really like NFL. Like, I love the concept of NFL, but I just find it like so slow and kind of almost overcoached to a point.
Oh, agreed. Way too.
Especially,
where's the fatigue?
I guess that comes into the fact that, we've grown up with rugby league, which is a similar idea without necessarily the forward passing, but you take a lot of the other stuff and it's very similar.
The physical contact,
the
athletic
trying to
skills
get to
and
a
speed and
fucking
stuff.
zone at the other end to score.
But there's leagues non-stop.
Yeah, it's non-stop, which I think is, to me, and it's definitely cultural, you could say that. I just feel it's better to watch. It's more exciting to watch because you don't have to sit for... I mean, a 48-minute game doesn't take fucking 3.5 hours to watch, for starters.
Jesus Christ. Honestly.
Yeah, but yeah, I dig it. It's really well done for someone that doesn't necessarily go deep into the nuances. I know enough about NFL to understand exactly what's going on. Like, I know what a touchdown is. But, yeah, good stuff. I sort of said to you, it's not that far off something like The Last Dance. It takes a little bit of a different approach, but I always appreciate when you get people that were important parts talking candidly about it, and it's just an area of interest, like finding what made great teams great. And so yeah, really cool. And I think I've got 6 episodes to go, so it should be good.
Okay.
Outside of that, I got a few movies under the belt. I think I mentioned it to you briefly last episode, but I did watch Bad CGI Gator.
Oh, yeah,
so I got my
that.
full moon feature box ticked off on the bingo card this week.
I hear it's terrible.
It's terrible. It is terrible.
Well, why would I even think anything less?
I mean, look, I get the idea, and I'm all on the idea of, okay, we make a stupid movie, it's an hour long, it's cheap, and the whole concept is we have cheap special effects, so we round the storyline about how someone throws their fucking computer into a pond and it turns a real gator into a fucking bad CGI gator. I'm like, okay, I'm on board with that. But if you're going to do that, it's got to be fucking entertaining and funny, and the characters are just not. They're just so bad that it's really hard to enjoy it. So I really wish... I need Charlie Band to get back on the horse. I need him to really start putting some decent work out there.
I will say this though, Jared. I mean, these are made for like a 6-pack.
I know, but that doesn't mean that you're right.
I know, but I've got a film on my list that was made for $100 million, and I could say the same.
Yep.
So,
But I just feel like, you give me a 6-pack and let me on Charlie Band's set, I think I could come up with something that would make someone laugh, maybe once or twice during an hour. I didn't laugh once.
Well, there's a fart gag for starters. Like, gag one, fart.
Someone drops their guts or shits themselves or something like that.
Brilliant.
Of course. I'd have a fucking, I'd have a gaggle of fans immediately after that sort of shit. But, it's...
I'm the first one in line for that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've seen enough fart gags to know what a good one is.
Oh, yeah. It's all about when.
So I went from that to, on Tubi, I found Carnival of Souls, the Wes Craven produced one
remake.
Look, for starters, you can't cast Larry Miller as a baddie. The guy's too lovable. He makes me laugh too much when he's in those roles. So seeing him in that kind of role where he's spouting some really seedy lines and doing some really seedy things was a bit off for me. Shawnee Smith was in it.
Okay.
which I always like her work. It had a couple of all right things going for it. There was a few sequences, there was a couple of visuals that worked pretty well with that inspiration of the original movie. But I guess if you've seen the original, it's hard not to know where it's going. So
Okay.
it's really kind of, it falls flat in that area. I understand they kind of make it for an audience that probably hadn't necessarily seen that one.
Yeah.
But I think whenever you make a remake, you almost have to take it into account, because if there's fans of the original, they're going to want to seek it out. So that was a little bit disappointing. Wes didn't tend to put the same care into his production work that he did with his
he did have another one that I remember
like.
watching called Mind Ripper.
Yeah.
That was pretty fucking bad.
I've started on the riff tracks version of that.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't good.
It wasn't good.
No.
I went back to Ready Player One.
Oh.
My son is just listening to the audiobook, and so he wanted to go back to it to compare.
I believe there's a lot of changes. Is that right?
There is a lot of changes, and I spoke to him like, for example, the challenges where they have to find these keys. In the book, it's based around the video game Joust. There's portions of the video game Joust. And so I had a little conversation with him. I'm like, you can understand why they changed that in the movie, because in the movie it's a car race where people are allowed to it's like the Oasis is like a big video game. So people turn up to the car race and they drop the DeLorean or the Batmobile or something like that. And the race involves racing through a city where King Kong's on a building and stuff like that. And I kind of just said to him, look, it just makes it more accessible for people that don't necessarily love video games to the point where they know what Joust is. Almost everyone's going to know who King Kong is. But I still dig it. I know people have a lot of very valid criticisms about the story in general, but I kind of dig it. I just love the idea of this fucking world full of Easter eggs, hunting for these things in stuff that we know. The sequence with The Shining, I still think is fucking awesome, and that was one of the really wise changes they made, throwing something like The Shining in there, because the fucking recreation of The Shining looks outstanding. But yeah, I still really enjoy that one, and I think it does have a little touch of the Spielberg magic, despite some really stupid stuff that does happen in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I checked out a Canon picture, Adam. I watched Runaway Train.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I don't know about fantastic. No, it is pretty good.
I remember really enjoying
Runaway
Train.
I think it's pretty good. Eric Roberts and John Voight especially, aside from their accents. I don't know what they're pulling with their accents.
What were they, Russians or something?
No, they're Americans, but they kind of just decide to swing these fucking... I don't know where they got them from, but Eric Roberts is... He's is kind of like he's trying to put out that he's a bit dumb, sort of. He puts this accent on, but then Johnny Voight is he's really laying it on.
It's
not Anaconda level, but it's definitely building towards it.
Oh, well, that's why he was selected.
It's fucking exciting. It's the guy that plays the prison warden is really good. He's fucking, as the heavy is really good. I thought it was, it's definitely up there with the better.
Directed by Andrei Konchalovsky, who also directed with 4 other people, Tango and Cash.
It was directed by him, and I believe it was written heavily by Akira Kurosawa.
Oh, really?
So it's, I quite liked it. It's definitely one of the better Canon pictures I've seen. I then found Yes, Madam. I'd been searching for Yes, Madam for quite a long time. Oh, is that the one with
Michelle
Yeoh, Cynthia
Rothrock?
Yes. Really good stuff. And, we've come across the name Swee Hark in the direction stakes before. He was acting in it.
Oh, he was acting,
He's one of the actors in it.
Shit. Is he also a martial artist?
No, he was one of the comedic group.
We spoke about this. It seemed like this sort of shit was in all of these movies, wasn't it?
It didn't necessarily not fit.
I mean, there was a Jackie Chan movie that we watched. I think it was Police Story.
Yeah.
Where there was some fucking random bullshit in there.
Yeah.
It was like,
look, I did kind of get a hint of Jackie Chan with the comedic stuff, and I actually think it didn't necessarily stick out, but it just cost a bit of time with Michelle Yeoh and Cynthia Rothrock on the screen, and they were the best thing about it by a fucking country mile. I mean, this is very early in Cynthia Rothrock's acting, and you can tell. Like, she's in the police role, and she does a lot of finger pointing. There's a lot of where she walks in and starts finger pointing at people.
So she was green.
She was green, and it doesn't come across well in that aspect.
Fucking head
But as
Righty.
soon as there's a fucking fight sequence, there's points where you can see it's clearly her doing some of the more difficult stuff, and it's fucking leaping off walls into a fucking fly kick into someone's head.
Oh, yeah, that's
her and Michelle Yeoh both do that stuff really well. The fight choreography in those scenes is fucking awesome. I just wish there was more of it, but I did really enjoy it. And then I finished things off with The Conference. Which is a slasher on Netflix. I believe me and you crossed it one night, and I gave you the not tonight. This isn't gonna. I think it's a is it Swedish?
The
Swedish slasher, the Conference. I believe it's based on a book.
Is it any good?
It's not bad. It's kind of the slasher where it's got the little mascot of like a shopping center or something that's going on, and the part that does sort of work is that it's a work retreat. They're on a work retreat. So anyone that's worked in kind of that office setting, even if you haven't worked in the same sort of thing, anyone that's worked in that office environment or anything like that and gone on an off-site where you've sort of got to do group challenges and things like that, you'll find some humour in it, and you'll be able to tag people and say, yep, I've fucking seen that like many a time. The slasher element, there's some reasonably gory kills, but again, it falls a bit flat with the it tries to be mysterious about it, and you kind of, I didn't cotton on to exactly what it was, but I did sort of say, well, it's in this ballpark. It was a bit obvious in that department, but yeah, it was pretty enjoyable. I think it was about 140 odd minutes, so the right time frame for me to sit down and not start pissing and moaning. You know, it was a bum number, but yeah, that was what I checked out.
Okay, look, I did my homework. But I'm going to start with, I watched Ricky Stenicki on Amazon Prime, which I found out was actually shot in Australia.
Raving about Johnny Cena. Are you going to continue raving?
Cena's excellent.
He's a great bloke.
Like, in a pretty average film, he stands out far and above everyone else. The movie had some piss-funny moments, but it's just too... You've got to swallow too much to even get to it. And the concept kind of runs a little dry. After about an hour, it's kind of starting to lower. You're starting to lose some gags, and you're starting to get into some really sort of shitty gags.
Would David Zaslav have taken a tax break on this
Definitely.
movie? Okay.
Well, the way I look at it is you take a tax break on the one that had, was it Acme, Coyote versus Acme?
Yep.
Which seems perfect for kids.
Well, it seems to me like,
but you don't take a tax break on Ricky Stenicki.
It's going. Well, I don't think they made it.
I know they didn't make it, but what I mean is, if no one drops Ricky Stenicki and goes, "Fuck, what's this?"
Well, if Amazon got a hold of Acme, we'd be seeing it.
Yeah,
because they fucking run everything at a lot, just to try to pump up the fucking purchasing business, which works for me, Adam. I'm purchasing shit off Amazon. I can't blink without fucking.
But it's not their main business, is it? Amazon Prime's not their main business. Their main business is selling shit to us for fucking nothing.
Advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still can't get the Acme thing. I know it's kind of back in the news because Will Forte kind of wrote a Twitter thing about it, and Patton Oswalt had a couple of pot shots at them at an awards ceremony. And I mean, it's fucking sad that you put the time into making a movie and then you don't just fucking just cop it.
Well, let me just tell you what's really sad, and we've gone a bit off topic here because it had nothing to do with Ricky Stenicki, but
it's Johnny Cena.
Oh yeah,
Ricky Stenicki's him trying to rescue his career after David Zaslav seems intent on ruining it.
I can understand taking a tax break once, but that fuckwit has thrown away 3 fully made pictures.
Yeah.
Now that is not good business. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't care if you've looked at the books and we've got to save some money here.
Yeah.
Not good business, mate. I don't care who you are and what you think you know.
If one of those movies hits, you probably make more money than what you did with the tax breaks, doesn't it?
Fuck oath, because the tax break was only $30 million.
Yeah.
So put them together, you only made $90 million.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's other costs with advertising and whatnot.
But if you already in the hole for the budgets.
If you happen to chuck Scoob, I know the first Scoob didn't really land and didn't make a ton of money, but if you happen to hit the fucking school holiday market when there's not a lot else on and Scooby makes you a bit of money, the Acme ones seem to be marketed to, like, Looney Tunes is going to be one where parents will say, "Oh, we'll take the kids to this," but it seemed to be marketed at adults too. So
It just makes no sense. And Batgirl, I mean, fuck, that is a no-brainer.
yeah,
You were already in the hole for the budget.
yeah,
What does it matter? You're not even making that back.
no. I know. I just got a sense that Batgirl would have done okay.
Well,
Just because it's a character that people have wanted to see on screen for
I
a
know
while.
that there's superhero fatigue, and Madam Web's a classic example. And I read a very amusing post about how the Sony heads are pissed off at fucking what's the star's name?
Dakota Johnson.
Dakota Johnson, because she's shit canned.
Yeah, it wasn't her fault.
But this is the thing.
I mean, she probably got more people in there because she was fucking taking the piss out of it.
But stop being so fucking bunched up about it. The
Sony,
movie sucked.
The problem is you made a shit movie.
Yeah,
I can
just
say that
fucking
because I fucking
accept it.
sat down and watched it. It
Like
was
these
shit.
fucking people sitting back all bunched up about how she's shitting on the movie that she was in.
Yeah.
That's her prerogative.
But in my
fuck's
opinion,
sake.
like her attitude to it makes people like her a bit more and makes them more fucking willing to go and see it if they probably weren't going to see it.
But also, she made it pretty clear that she's probably not going to be making these sorts of movies.
Yeah.
Like it just wasn't for her.
Well, it was shit.
That's
That's
right.
the problem.
If it was fucking good, it
Yeah.
might be for her.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not. And just unclench your ass
Yeah.
and stop being so fucking prissy about this shit. Like,
You reckon that's what TC
it's a
said to
movie.
David Zaslav when they had a meeting?
Unclench your
Listen,
butthole,
David,
mate.
unclench your ass because you're not going to cancel any of my movies. And if you do, I'll be fucking...
No, he did exactly what he does in Tropic Thunder. Yeah, Nutless Smoking could do your job.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, you did a great job for me. But Nutless Smoking could do it. Like he's fucking.
Yeah.
He basically said that to Zaslav. He's like,
I just feel like, look, you're rolling the dice. You've already rolled it. If one of those three movies hits, which I feel like one of them probably would have made a decent amount of money, then you're all right. Like,
well, it would have made more money than what they got back.
Batgirl, you spent 90 odd to 100 odd. You didn't spend fucking 400 or 300 or whatever you did on The Flash. The Flash still made 400 million or something. And I think some of that was possibly on the strength of Michael Keaton being Batman. Well, he was in Batgirl too. So if you make 400 or 300 on the Batgirl movie, you've done all right. And I think that's probably achievable. Maybe, 200 odd or something like that. 250. It's probably achievable. So is that better than taking a tax break?
I think, Jared, and this is my final word on this.
I've given out three figures there that I think they could have made.
Hollywood is full of people who have no fucking idea what they're doing.
Well, I
And
think
they're
the thing with
constantly
him
sticking
is,
their fucking fingers in to stuff that they have no concept of anything.
Well, I think that's true. I think the thing with him is, look, he clearly seems to know business. Like he has done things that have cut into their debt and stuff like that. But you're playing a long game here, and people are going to just say, "I'm not bringing this movie to Warner Brothers." If you go to the table for a movie that everyone in Hollywood's throwing money at, they're going to scrub you straight away because they're going to say, well, you've offered me, $50 million for the script or fucking whatever it is. I'll take fucking 30 from this company because I know it's going to get out.
Yeah.
And I know
We'll
that
make
if
money
someone
on the
there
end of it.
watches it, they're not going to say, we're canning it.
Yeah. Agreed.
So I think he's really, in the end, I do think he's fucking him over long run.
Yeah. Agreed. So
Tommy Cruise is going to turn around and say, fuck you.
Well, again, TC went there, negotiated the fucking best deal possible, which is I don't necessarily have to make anything for you, but I might. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I might, but I won't.
But what if TC turns up and says, look, I'm fucking really interested in playing Batman, but I want it to have the tone of Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
He jumps on it. He jumps.
He jumps.
He does.
I want Artie back as Freeze.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
want a multiverse, and I want Arnold's
Artie's
Mr. Freeze
definitely
back.
has to be back.
I want Tommy Lee Jones back as Two-Face.
Jim Carrey, Joygasms of fucking Go-Go. Okay, so I watched a comedy with Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron called Long Shot.
Fuck, you are a glutton for punishment.
Well, look, the thing about it is Seth Rogen actually funny, Jared?
I'm starting to think he's not a comedian. I don't think he's untalented.
No. It's not, no. This isn't about talent. I just mean...
Yeah, I don't think he's that funny.
The concept of it kind of could have had some legs, but...
Yeah.
But it...
He actually seems to do well as a producer.
Yes.
And I think I really enjoyed the Turtles movie that he was involved in.
Yeah. And I'm not saying he's not talented. He is talented.
Yeah, the comedy...
I'm trying to work
whether
out...
he's funny.
Because I didn't get a lot of laughs out of him.
Yeah.
Whereas Ice Cube's son, who's only in it for about 15, 20 minutes, he generated a number of laughs.
Had you laughing like Johnny Cena?
He did. And again, it just didn't... I don't think it knew what it wanted to be. Whether it wanted to be funny or was it trying to sort of be a sort of a romance or a drama. I don't know what it was supposed to be trying to be. It was all over the map. There's even a sort of like an action scene midway through. I was like, what the fuck's this?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to throw some of our off mic conversations out there, but you had a crack at me for CGI Gator and then mentioned you were watching this, and I said, "Is it? Are we really that far off? Because you're going to watch a bad rom-com that you're never going to fucking think about again."
I mean, I would not even... Someone would say to me in 12 months' time, have you seen Long Shot? And I'd be like, no.
You'll be like my dad. I remember we used to go to the video shop with my dad, and he'd go, "Oh yeah, I've seen that." And then 2 minutes later, he'd walk past the same shelf and go, "No, I haven't." And then we'd hire it and we'd take it home. We'd put it on 10 minutes and he'd go, "Yeah, I've seen this."
Exactly. They'll be like, "Oh shit, I have seen
Shot.
this." Thank Christ, streaming is easy to just go, no, get out of it.
Thankfully, because I've got a shit memory, thankfully, I log shit on Letterboxd.
So you at least know
whether I've seen it or not.
I watched Point Break, the 1990 version.
How'd she hold up?
Okay. This is what I'm going to say.
Under Patrick Swayze's spell?
Better than I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Goofy as
shit.
Stupid.
Yeah.
It gets nice mileage out of Keanu and Busey. I think they work well. Very well.
Give me 2.
Yeah. Utah, 2. Those two work really well together.
Yeah.
There's a nice chemistry there. And Keanu Reeves, I remember thinking he was really bad in this. I was wrong.
Yeah, okay.
He's perfectly fine in this. But it's really Swayze's movie. Without Swayze, it's a turd. Because you needed Bodhi to be a guy that could be like, could suck him in, like get him in. Yeah. And Swayze just kills
me in.
Swayze told me to fucking jump out of the plane without a parachute.
Yeah,
I'd be fucking straight out there.
Yeah. And
the surfing and the skydiving stuff is really well handled.
Yeah.
The action sequence involving the robbery where they bring Utah along.
Yeah.
That's nicely played.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of others that don't work.
Laurie Petty?
No, I don't think she was bad.
The character.
I just don't think the character was much... Yeah. Well, there wasn't much to her.
Yeah.
They kind of shortchange her.
Something about the voice. She's like Jennifer Tilly. She's almost had a career on the voice.
Yes.
Not saying they're not good actresses, but they're so memorable just from the sound of their voice.
Yes. But look, her performance was fine. I just find it interesting that her character gets shortchanged it's a female director.
He's just essentially used in the end as the damsel.
Yeah.
Sort of. When prior to that, she was basically like, "You're not up to it, Utah.
Yes.
Like you can't handle this shit."
Yeah. And so early on, she shows her sort of like that she's got a bit to offer, and then they sort of undercut it.
What about Anthony Kiedis?
Kiedis, rubbish. Stick to fucking singing, brother.
Kiedis just was basically told to pull the same sort of shit he was pulling on stage.
Mate,
in the 90s.
Kiedis was strung out. I can guarantee it.
I actually don't think... I almost believe...
It's probably not far off.
I almost believe he wasn't supposed to shoot himself in the foot, but just happened to do that.
He actually did shoot himself in the foot. Producers were like, shit, leave that in there. I did a bit of research. James Cameron actually had a fair bit to do with it.
Yeah.
And it's actually the ex-presidents and all that stuff is him.
Because that stuff was cool.
Yeah, yeah.
The bank robbery scenes were, especially the last one where it all goes fucking pear-shaped.
Yeah, that one's excellent.
It's actually really good.
I also dig a small cameo from Tommy Sizemore, who's fucking very
he's
unhappy
fucking
about his
awesome.
DEA performance.
You think I like his fucking hair?
Do you think I like this hair? Do you think I like these clothes? You fucking ruined a 3-month investigation, you fucking cowboys or some shit.
We'll throw it out there. Was Busey's fucking best acting work just after the accident? Where he was a little...
No, because Lethal Weapon's pre.
Well, Lethal Weapon was pre, but... yeah, but...
And he got an Oscar nod pre the accident too.
I know, but I feel like his most memorable shit is
Predator 2,
where he's still...
Point Break.
He's still got the... It's still clear that he's got the acting chops, but he's just a little loose.
Yeah, agree.
I mean, this shit is great. Busey was almost the best thing about the whole movie.
Yeah. I mean, I still get a laugh out of, I was fucking taking on people in Nam or something while you were fucking shitting in your hands and wiping it on your face, which I thought was pretty funny. And
when he fucking decks
Johnny McGinley, I think that's really good. Respect your elders.
Good stuff.
Look, it's much better than I thought. But again, it hinges on Swayze.
Look,
without Swayze, if you had someone lesser, let's say Edgar Ramirez, you've got a fucking problem, Jared.
Not to play your hand, but look, I think
you've got a problem.
I had this conversation with you. I really enjoyed it, and I would probably stick it in like a 4-star range. But I am also in total agreement with you that it's not near the peak of that period of action movies.
No. And in fact, it came after a real glut of classics, like, Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, Predator, all within that period.
What about, how does Peter Phelps come out of things for you?
He comes out of things all right. The bloke after him sounds like a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Why do you got
Peter Phelps should be the one in the police costume.
You got Peter Phelps, a legit kind of, Aussie actor, pulling out the Aussie kind of
accent.
Shit, mate. They're fucking just giving us the Aussie. And then you get a guy who clearly...
Get the guy who can't do an Australian accent.
Can't do Australian. Jesus, Utah! I can't even remember what he says, but that's what's in my head because he does not sound Australian. I just don't understand that. Just get someone who can do the fucking accent.
I mean, I know it was 1990, so we weren't. Hollywood wasn't flooded with Australians. But get Mick Brumby.
Exactly. Yeah. He made a whole career of a passable Australian accent when he was from England.
I think it wasn't. Better than that fucking butthole.
But the funny thing is, like, all you got to do is get an Australian around there, and you had Peter Phelps clearly on set to say, "Can you just watch this?" And then when he hears it, he goes, "Fuck, no, you cannot have that.
Get someone else.
You will put off the entire country of Australia
Correct.
Just with that one fuck." It was like, remember the Simpsons episode where everyone in Australia loved the Simpsons, and they did the Australian episode where everyone's Australian accent was fucking awful, and all of a sudden everyone in Australia was like, "Fuck the Simpsons."
Yeah, exactly. But Point Break is better than I remember.
Yeah,
and Swayze is key.
I think I know what's coming next, Adam.
Well, I watched the 2015 remake, Jared.
I'm glad you took up the challenge. I threw it down. You fucking leapt straight on it. I'll give you credit for that.
I am going to be honest. I think it's one of the worst movies I've seen in fucking 20 years.
Yeah? I'm not going to argue with that.
That piece of shit cost $100 million.
Yeah, and it was fucking boring.
What did they spend it on? They must have spent it on stunt work.
Flight suits must cost a bit.
And don't get me wrong, some of the stunt work is clearly really impressive.
Oh, mate, Warren Miller would have done that shit for much less than $100 million.
But it feels like a Warren Miller film.
The funny thing is, when I was watching it... Because the plot
makes no sense at all.
Yeah, when they had the flight suit thing, in my head it was just, oh, shit!
And Jared, in minute 1... his buddy fucking falls off a cliff on a motorbike, which is supposed to be his sort of like, that's why it's ruined him.
Why did we even bother with that?
Because it had no bearing on anything.
Yeah.
He didn't get any...
The original, I didn't look at the original and say, gee, Johnny Utah's motivation for getting in could have used some work. Johnny Utah's motivation was that he needed to go undercover. That's what that worked.
Because a group of guys have been robbing banks for years.
He worked a job, and his job was to be undercover. And then he got a little too deep undercover and started falling under Swayze's spell. Like, that was the...
And that's what they tried to then do, but they open within the first 5 minutes, his buddy's fallen off a fucking cliff. Which immediately I was just laughing. I was laughing. And I shouldn't, but I was laughing. And then we get a 7 years later, and we get told by Delroy Lindo, who, honestly, in that first 10 minutes was the only...
He's rescuing things for 10 minutes.
Well, for a few seconds, I thought, this might be a bit more impressive than I thought. Delroy's turned up.
No, incorrect.
Even Delroy was phoning it. But he says, you used to be a fucking Triple X game or a X game... fucking Triple X. He wasn't doing Triple X, but he was an...
Is Triple X better?
He was X... No, yes. Triple X is better. It felt a bit like Triple X.
Yeah.
He'd been an X Games star. He was a lawyer, and he was in the FBI. And I was just like, what a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, what a bunch of bullshit.
What can't he do?
And then 10 seconds later, they're like, he's a probationary FBI man. He tosses up a theory that they're doing the fucking eight fucking wonders of the world or whatever they're doing. And honestly, Jared, all I could think of was, if this was reality, he would have done his pitch and the guys in the room would have gone, listen, you don't know shit about shit, so sit down and shut the fuck up.
And
you're a probationary
why
dude.
do we take that from... if something worked about the original, the fucking 50-Year Storm and Bell's Beach actually kind of worked for me. Why do we change that? Why do we have to make it fucking grander? Because it was a bit stupid as it was.
It was a 50-Year Storm out in the fucking middle of nowhere, if I remember correctly.
But of course, as Aussies, we're sitting there going, Bell's Beach, yeah, we've heard about that.
Yeah, we know what that is. Luke Bracey is just terrible. Like, I'm actually surprised he got a lot of work after this. His performance is shocking. And
Didn't get a lot of high-profile work, though.
But he's still working.
Yeah, he's still working, yeah.
And then Edgar Ramirez...
You hate to say that about it.
I do, because I feel like he's done better work.
Yeah.
If I looked back.
Yeah. Edgar Ramirez, who you'd said to me was a really good actor.
Edgar Ramirez is a much better actor than this would have you believe, Jared. And it's sad because I feel like with something a bit better, maybe he could have done something with it. But he is just spouting total shit.
Absolute
the whole time.
shit. And doesn't have Swayze's fucking good looks and charm to just make you look at the screen.
I'm telling you right now, Jared,
when you looked at the screen,
if Swayze had read this script, he'd be like, I'm not saying this shit.
Yeah. When you looked at the screen in the original Point Break, there was a little bit of like when you look at Dave Chappelle as Rick James and he's kind of beckoning you towards him and shit like that.
He's like the fucking I'm the king in those Seinfeld episodes. Yeah, That's what
Edgar Ramirez is really lacking in this one. But probably not his fault.
Ramirez not his fault. Then Tessa Palmer just gets shafted because she gets nothing to do at all, including an opening sequence where they meet and she starts talking about fucking crystals and shit or something.
Yeah,
I was just like, this is ridiculous. It's garbage.
Yeah. And I'm glad we're in agreement that I didn't fucking throw you into this one and you said this is all right. We both think it's an absolute bucket of crap.
Why in the world? I want people named and shamed. Like if I was I'm not joking. If I was running the studio and I'd come along and found out that they had spent $100 million on this shit.
Where's the tax break on this one?
Then said to me, we really didn't make any money back. I'm like, I want every prick who was involved in this fucking movie in the
I want Edgar Ramirez in the boardroom with me.
I want everybody in here, and I want answers as to why you chose to spend this money.
It's like Survivor. It's like the weakest link. I want you to fucking point to the person in the room that fucked this up the most.
I'm going fucking Les Grossman on that.
I want everybody in here, and everyone is going to tell me who fucked this up.
I'm saying, why could we have not spent $50 million on this?
Yeah. Because you had to go to the 8 wonders and you had to film them doing something stupid on every single one of them.
we give this to a director who made one movie. That makes no sense whatsoever.
I don't think
I could
much
go on
about
this forever.
It's a really bad movie.
Fucking sucked.
Yeah. It is very bad.
And, you know, the original Point Break was not really a hit. It made money, but it
had
not
some
heaps.
longevity.
It had longevity as a cult film.
Yep.
But that doesn't make me in 2015 think, well, $100 million will do
But
this.
this is the thing. You do a remake and you think, we'll fucking change just about everything about it. That'll work.
And we'll hire a group. Like, we've got $100 million to work with. We cannot get a big star.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's some remakes that I dislike, but I look at, you know, Rob Zombie's Halloween and I think, well, he didn't fucking change the mask. He didn't change Dr. Loomis's, you know, the character of Dr. Like, this is kind of Point Break just decided to fucking really stretch things.
Well,
beyond.
Jared, I came this close to watching the remake of Total Recall and the remake of RoboCop. And I was like, fuck, don't. Don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I
actually
believe the
wanna watch
remake
RoboCop
of RoboCop was okay.
Yeah. Look.
So, Total Recall made no fucking sense whatsoever, if I remember correctly.
Mm.
It had no sense at all. So I balked.
You skipped.
And I
After
went to Blue Steel.
Yeah, okay.
A little-known Jamie Lee Curtis thriller directed by Catherine Bigelow, which, fucking hell, honestly, honest to goodness, Rod Silver is fucking off his gourd. It's magic. I forgot what a great actor Ron Silver could be.
Yeah.
And he's just off the fucking planet. But it makes it kind of interesting that you've got this lunatic roaming around chasing her up, like kind of ingratiating himself in her life. I thought it was kind of cool.
Mm.
It wasn't bad. And you also got Clancy Brown, which, you know, segues
Always
into this film. Yeah, always a win. But that was it.
Right.
All right, let's take a break. Here's the trailer for Pet Sematary 2.
Something strange.
I didn't think much about it until I saw him drag the body out of the coffin.
Something evil.
Bury your own.
Something terrifying is happening in Ludlow, Maine. Again. Pet Sematary 2.
No brain, no pain.
Starts Friday, August 28th at theaters everywhere.
Pet Sematary 2 from 1992, directed by Mary Lambert, who directed Megapython vs. Gatoroid. Produced by Ralph S. Singleton, who actually directed another Stephen King adaptation of Graveyard Shift. And it's written by Richard Oughton, who actually put the story together for Journey to the Mysterious Island. It stars Edward Furlong as Jeff Matthews, Anthony Edwards as Chase Matthews, and Clancy Brown as Gus Gilbert. The budget was $8 million. The box office was $17 million. And on a draft of the screenplay from 6 January 1991, credits revisions by David S. Goyer.
I did hear that. Was the screenplay not also originally about Ellie Creed?
I don't know the depth of that, but
yeah, I think there was a mention that
because they
perhaps
mentioned it in the
originally
film
about
that
Ellie
she
Creed,
went crazy and killed
but
herself.
they got a little concerned about a female-led movie at the time.
Right.
So
what
they
we'll
decided
do
on Edward
we'll
Furlong
put a
instead.
child who sucks. Fucking whatever. Okay. My general thoughts on this: very average sequel. Very. Because the original was solid.
Yeah.
It was a solid picture. There's a real lack of character here, Jared. There's no atmosphere, which is what the first movie had. And that kind of undoes some of the good stuff, like Clancy Brown's. His performance is way over the top, but it's fun. Like, whenever Brown's around, I'm kind of like reasonably sort of partially invested, but he's not around enough. Things go a bit sort of gonzo by the end, which is kind of good, but it's too late. Like, I couldn't have given a rat's ass about half these people, especially Edward Furlong's character.
Yeah.
And I've actually got a thought on that as we get into it, his character makes no sense to even be there, in my opinion. But I'll talk about that. I gave it 1.5.
Fuck.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
Jesus.
I was pretty
1.5.
desperate for it to fucking end.
All
to be
right.
honest.
Well, we're reasonably far apart. I
Would
went
you?
with 3.
You went for a 3.
Yeah, look, I agree.
You are anyone's.
No.
Anytime.
Look, I agree with you about Edward Furlong acting and other acting in the piece. I agree with you about the characters, but I actually do think there's a bit of a sort of tone that sort of matches the original and a bit of a vibe to the piece. It's just the vibe of the
It's
thing.
a vibe that you get.
I have fun with Clancy Brown. There are portions of it that I like. Mostly, I think there is most of the things I would tend to talk about the movie are definitely the missed opportunities, but I do think there is a bit of a tone to it that kind of matches the original in some ways. I probably agree that the best parts are where things get a little bit crazy and a little bit loose, but I think for the most part it is pretty enjoyable, and it is. For the lack of character and stuff like that, we don't necessarily get bogged down too much by it. It does move reasonably quickly. So, yeah, I go on a 3. And that has risen recently with a couple of repeat viewings. And
Put it this way. It Bloodlines didn't do a lot for
No.
it, did it?
Well, I look at it similar to Bloodlines. There were things I enjoyed about Bloodlines. There were other things that I was probably heavily critical about. But there were certainly small snippets of Bloodlines that did work. But yeah, there's parts of this where I do really enjoy the Clancy Brown for the most part. He probably could have killed a few more people, to be honest.
Well,
I think even with giving it a 3, I definitely hear the downsides of it and agree with a lot of them. And I do kind of look at it and say, I wish they'd done more of A, B, C, D,
yes.
E, F.
Fuck G. Honestly, the alphabet.
Yeah.
Straight out of the gate, some of the cast is fairly competent, and I'm talking mostly about the adult actors. Clancy Brown is the MVP of the piece.
Yeah, and most of the adult actors in it have had careers for a reason.
Yeah, yeah.
Anthony Edwards
is quite good.
The female, like the opposite, like Clancy Brown's opposite, and Edward Furlong's mum in the piece as well.
Yeah, they're all fine. Clancy Brown is the key, though.
Yeah,
the movie has some juice when he's around.
Yeah,
and even
he kind of comes off a little bit like the Kurgan at times.
A little bit
when he kind of gets into full swing.
Yeah, but he's got that kind of loose cannon down pat. You know, he knows how to work it.
Yes.
And even in shit scripts like this, he can liven things up.
Absolutely.
So I give him a lot of credit.
Yep.
Actually. Mum getting electrocuted straight out of the gate. I was like, holy shit, what's happened here?
Yeah.
And I couldn't stop laughing as she gyrated back and forth. And
there was clearly a couple of scenes where they were just like, just grab the bars and shake.
And the bloke's like, cut.
She's
being electrocuted, you cock.
Everyone's fucking fumbling around.
Yeah, look, she'll be fine.
I think the opening credits in general sort of immediately evoked the original. Like, as soon as I saw the opening credits, I felt like, we're in the same place. Like, the music, the feel. But then it throws at you her walking down those stairs.
Yeah.
And you're caught off guard for a moment. Like, you know, when you first watch it, you're like, what's this? Like, are we fucking going back to, some time period or whatever? It's very brief. It's only a matter of seconds before you realise, oh, okay, well, this is where we are. But, I didn't mind that from the get-go. And, yes, I did laugh at that, but it certainly, I had some downfalls.
I mean, it came out of the blue, but it livened things up. Like, you were kind of like, oh, shit, this might be... Yeah, I actually thought we might be on some stable ground. It might be sort of interesting.
Yes, yeah. I hear you. I actually have a bit of a soft spot for the fucking grungy kind of soundtrack, the jangling fucking guitar sort of shit that's coming through. There's a couple of points where it's crap, like the song starts getting to full swing and I'm like, this isn't great. But there's a few parts where it's almost used as just the score, where they just have like a little kind of guitar fucking.
Well, it probably
little bit
goes
of
along
finger-picking
more
guitar.
towards the teen-oriented.
Yes, very much so.
Angle.
And the 90s.
Yes.
She's squarely placed in the 90s. Very much so. I mean, there was points where I just expected Eddie Vedder to fucking start launching into something.
Yes. So it kind of fit what they were trying to do, which was the teen market.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seemed to be where they were going.
And I think, for the most part, I did enjoy it. Soft spot.
Soft spot. I didn't have a lot of shit in the middle that I was enjoying because unless, you threw Clancy Brown.
Okay, well, fuck. How about I'll throw a few out there before, if you're heading straight to the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I did dig the part where they rode past the Creed house.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
They just throw Creed on the letterbox.
But at least that tied us in. And I did have that.
They don't go, because it sort of ties into one of my dislikes, that half the film you wouldn't even know it's in Ludlow. They don't bother with a lot of that. But the fact that you kind of just get riding past the letterbox with Creed on it, a few very brief mentions of the Creed story, I didn't mind the way they brought that up. I didn't think they dug into it too much. I think they just brought it up enough, and they turned Ellie Creed into a kind of urban legend, which
and they do another bit where he brings up church.
Yes.
The old vet.
Yes.
I thought that was a tidy way of sort of once again tying back to the first film.
And that was part where we were building to something that was all right, where he's calling up the vet and he's like, "Are you playing pranks on me, sending me fucking blood samples from a dead dog?" I dug that shit because that was similar to the first, but we're having people who don't know about it, who don't have a fucking Judd Crandall finding out about it in a different way.
I liked it, but it comes with its own set of problems because of the way they look at the dog.
Yeah, well, none of this stuff works out. All the stuff that I like that they did, none of it really works out for the whole movie.
No.
And that's definitely one of them. Clancy Brown just fucking shooting the dog.
Yeah.
I actually think that's really good because you kind of get the sense he's a nasty bit of work. But
you needed to up the stakes because early on he's nasty, but he pulls back every time with the kid.
Yeah, he's nasty and he's masking it with this discipline.
Yeah.
He's masking it with, like, the part where he fucking meets Edward Furlong and he just decides to throw out there, me and your mum
we used to be together.
High school sweethearts, used to be together and all that sort of shit. And you can kind of tell he's fucking still dirty about it. And him just shooting the dog, I feel like it works to set the tone of he's just a really cartoonishly fucking villainous asshole.
Well, add to that his electrified fence around his fucking rabbits.
Yeah, which is kind of funny.
Which I got to tell you, Clancy, that's illegal.
Yeah, well, fuck, we don't need to worry about that. We're in Ludlow. No one's fucking checking up on that. He's the fucking
sheriff,
law.
Yeah.
He's the law in Ludlow. But I mean, for dog lovers, which you and I both are,
that was hard.
We've both had dogs in our life. I think it's possibly the best part of the film in terms of getting any emotions into it.
Yes. It's kind of undone, and I'll get to it. It gets undone a bit later.
It's undone, but even with weak performances, the fucking best performances from the dog.
Yes.
When it's fucking sitting there kind of just wincing.
Yeah,
and
laying on the
lifting
rock,
its
and
head
he's
up.
trying, and he comes over and he...
Because quite frankly, much like the first film makes you fucking consider the idea of losing a child, which thankfully neither of us have fucking had to endure.
That's right.
We've both lost dogs and we've both had enough dogs in our time to have to farewell them. So this one actually hit the scene where he's fucking, even though the kid, I don't think he's necessarily a great actor, the combination of just the idea and the dog doing good work.
There was enough
it's
there.
Fucking sad.
There's enough there to say you would potentially go and bury it up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like there was enough.
Well,
now,
anyone
the
that's
first movie's got a lot more because it's a child.
Yeah, and I've got some to add to this in the dislikes, but that's the only point in the movie where I felt like I was emotionally invested in what the characters were doing.
Correct. So there was enough
that
says to me I would go up and bury it up there.
Yep. Again, another half like because it doesn't get fully played out.
Fleshed.
But when you're thinking about the first movie approaching it from parents losing a child,
I
think the approach of, okay, well, what about the grief of a child losing a parent? Especially in a situation where he's being torn between what seems to be a situation where the parents are moving apart. I think that was not necessarily a terrible way to approach it. And I think playing it with Drew as his friend who has a shit parent, who ends up being the villain of the piece, I can see what they were kind of aiming for. Not that they ever get there.
No, But I
think,
also think could it have also been more about Clancy Brown and his kid, less about we could have done without Furlong?
well,
The woman who died could have been his mother.
I mean, it's pretty clear that they're playing it. Yeah, well,
I feel like
I'll tell you why. I
feel like we could have worked with that better because I felt like there was more there.
Well, I'm getting into my dislikes here.
Yeah, okay.
Edward Furlong doesn't have a Judd Crandall, and Drew is almost a Judd Crandall, but Drew knows fucking nothing. Drew knows nothing about nothing.
Yeah.
So that's my downside. We'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. But I think having the main character as part of, and it's kind of what you said. I don't even know if by the end of it, Edward Furlong doesn't even feel like the main character. But having someone who is attached to his mother in what seems like a really positive kind of parent-child situation, making friends with the kid who's got it from the other angle, whose father is just a piece of shit. I can see what they were aiming for, but it never gets there.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
But I also, the more I looked at it, I felt like we could have done something with Drew as the key kid.
Yeah.
Because
then you've said he's a fucking terrible actor.
Well,
so
we get a better actor. We get a better actor. But I feel like we could have gone down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I think it might have worked a bit more.
Yeah. I think if you're going to go with what you did, you probably do need a kid who's a very strong sort of...
Yeah. You need a Corey film.
Parts of it. He could have provided soundtrack work as well.
Yeah.
So I also dig the shot of the Micmac burial ground after they've buried Zowie.
Yeah, when it's pulling back.
It's pulling back and it shows the fucking scale of it, and it's the only moment in the movie where they show the scale of it. And we've spoken about this before, but it kind of shows what you have to go through to get there. And I feel like that's fucking important because isn't it like symbolic of the fucking depth of your grief? Like what you will fucking go to.
But there's some negatives.
But but I'm saying like
I appreciate the fact that they do showcase. Yes, there is a lot of work to get through.
So I'm singling out the shot.
Yeah.
I'm singling out the shot.
The shot is good,
and I'm saying that I don't think any of the movies, maybe the remake, out of all of them, has probably got it the most right out of what you seem to have to go through just to get to the burial ground.
Yes.
Because the other ones make it seem like any old fucking silly bastard can get. Well, I mean, Drew can get there.
It says keep out. but what we do is we walk over that.
But you read, and I never really got this until I read the book, that it seems like a fucking arduous process to get there. Like they talk about dragging the body up the fucking deadfall, for starters, but then you've got to fucking continue it. And I feel like the remake actually just shows a few parts where Jason Clarke and John Lithgow seem like they've been doing it. I mean, they seem like they look like us on our morning run today.
Correct.
After Kane
shot, specifically fucking shot.
Yeah. So I just like that part because I think it is, as I said, I think showing that is important because I think it is a symbolic thing that King put in there about the fucking depths of the grief and what you would go to have someone important in your life back. I mean, you're not doing that for your budgie or your goldfish.
No, you're not.
So
you aren't.
Yeah. Again, another half like that. That I like
Doesn't
the idea was. I like the
fully.
seed that was planted, but it never really bloomed. And the other one, before we kind of stretch into the end parts, I loved the part where Clancy Brown pulls up next to Drew after he shot his dog and drops the line, "Life is full of lessons, buddy. No one's above them. Not you, not me."
Yeah.
It just kind of, I mean, it's a good line, and it's probably, to me, it's one of the few really good lines in the movie, but it just fucking highlights what a piece of shit he really is. The fact that he fucking killed what seems like a lovable dog, other than the fact that he would demonstrate normal dog behaviour of trying to fucking attack a hutch full of rabbits and a cat and shit like that. But the fact that he looks at just fucking blasting the dog away as like a teaching someone a lesson shows a sort of fucking detached, fucked up prick
scumbaggery of him.
And the fact that you look at it like, well, if you would do that to the dog, like what the fuck would you do to your kid?
Yes.
What would you do to your wife? So I thought that actually just hearing that line from him in that moment almost made it like he's almost fucking dead anyway. He's fucking dead emotionally. He's just a piece of shit. So when he comes back, it's just him just unleashed into what he really is
Yes.
without the fucking facade.
Yes, and
So
I
I kinda
did
like
actually like that.
Yeah.
And him getting his throat ripped out was a nice little,
Yeah.
moment because
Cop
the dog
that.
kind of gets its revenge, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Yeah.
But I actually really liked the shot of him at Furlong's window.
Yes.
Where
It
he's
had
just
a little
standing
bit of
there looking-
Salem's Lot
Yeah, it was kind of
about
cool.
it. Yeah.
I did like that. I thought it was a nice shot.
Because just recently watched Salem's Lot,
The kid.
that really does stand out, that image. And I think, just a brief glimpse of it really does.
was
How he's
cool. It
kinda-
was really
kinda
cool.
Sneering at the window.
Yeah.
That was good.
It was the best, most, I felt, unnerving moment,
it was up
which
there,
was
for
which
sure.
was good. Things get interesting, I guess, down the back end. You get a bloke's
Yeah.
fucking face mangled off by a motorcycle.
Yeah.
A roaring motorcycle tyre.
Yeah.
Then you got the attack in his house.
He's good.
That then and then there's a car chase and crash. That really livens things up.
Yeah. The fact that kind of Gus is on a rampage, but Zowie also turns
Yeah.
on him as well, which you were expecting.
Yeah. And I liked all that. And things are happening.
Yeah.
And you don't need character development and shit for this stuff. You just need balls
No.
to the wall.
And this is probably the stuff that worked most out of the movie because that what you mentioned, the character development wasn't that strong. So
So go
where it's just
go
cutting
where it's
loose
got to
is-
be, yes.
Yeah, is probably not bad.
And then, I mean, fuck, I squirmed when he puts the drill in Anthony Edwards' shoulder. Fuck, I was like, ah!
Yeah, I'm sure that would have stung just a
Shit.
little bit.
And just the ending, although it doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
Doesn't really make a lot of sense.
No, not a lot does really.
But shit's on fire, and back comes the bully with his face all mangled, and he's got an axe, and he gets
sounds like Christian
electrocuted.
Bale as Batman.
He gets electrocuted, his head explodes.
yeah, that's good. That's all
And then
good.
the mother starts
Rambling
about Dad is better, Dad is better.
Yes.
And then all that stuff was kind of like, again, it was ridiculous.
Didn't
It was
make sense.
stupid.
Not a lick of sense.
Not a lick of sense. But it was sort of like gonzo type of over the top
Yeah.
lunacy
Yes.
that a movie like this needed to lean into a bit more.
I hear ya.
But that was it for me and the likes.
Yeah, same with me. I think the ending has a bit of a like for me, although I do have parts about it that I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? So I probably I had about fucking 3/4 of the likes there.
You
had a
did,
couple
you
of them, which fair enough.
Eddie Furlong.
I think I've probably got as many dislikes as you do.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of dislikes too. That's the problem. It's a yin
There's a
and
lot of things
yang
that don't work.
because you found things that you preferred that I didn't. Right?
Well, it's not even that I preferred them. It's
but you
another
thought
case
that they
where
were
I think
useful.
the fucking seeds of the ideas were there, but not a lot of them really hit.
Sprouted.
Not a lot of them sprouted.
Edward
I mean,
Furlong.
I planted
dislike.
them. I planted them on a fucking stinking hot day. I didn't
Well,
water
you
them.
planted them up in that fucking graveyard, didn't you? The
Yeah.
bloody ground is dead, Jared.
Yeah, it's sour. We've
Sour
told you
ground.
this. Everyone that's wandered up there, which seems to be every bastard in town, told you it's sour up there. Don't bother.
Dislikes.
Okay.
Edward Furlong.
Yeah, you're not happy with him?
I told you when we watched Brain
Terminator
Scan
2? Oh, Brain Scan.
that. I mean,
I might need to revisit that.
I mean, that kid should have told him he was a sausage dick and a shit actor.
Isn't that Shout Factory? We might have a
We might
fucking
forget
commentary
that,
on
yeah,
there to
commentary on
watch.
that one.
Because we do have, can I just update you? Kino Lorber's
They've
Kino
said yes,
Lorber's
yes, said
Needful
yes,
Things is on the way,
I'll
so
be
you better get
okay,
yourself
I
ready
can't
for that.
wait. We will do an episode on the 3-hour cut.
Yeah, good.
3-hour
episode?
No, fuck no. Come on.
Okay.
He's just not a good actor. Like,
He
I'm
had
sorry.
a look.
And he had a look. And
a bowl cut.
Initially, I thought to myself, okay, he was young. This was just after Terminator 2.
Yeah.
He was okay in Terminator 2,
Mm-hmm.
but all I could think of was
Sausage dick.
James Cameron is not known for being a very patient man. Is
No.
he? Now, I could have seen him on the set going, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I
this
think I
kid
mentioned
is
to you, I could see
grinding my
Arnie.
balls.
Arnie sitting there going, I'm not a fucking actor, but what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Arnie. Even Arnie's going, fucking
Arnie.
hell, why are you doing it that way?
Acting like his balls have just been kicked in numerous movies.
But maybe it was because they had a lot of money. He gets a lot more takes.
Yeah.
Cameron's a better director. Maybe it works that way.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'm not going to lie, he is terrible. And so is, unfortunately, Drew, who I believe this might have been his first
It was.
performance.
His
But
first
it's
movie.
possibly his last.
According to you, if you're producing, if you're calling in tax cuts once you see Drew on the dailies, we cancel this shit immediately and call David Zaslav about how we can this shit.
Fucking Mary Lambert is getting a very stern fucking phone call.
Man.
I'm like, what are you actually doing down there? Fuck, this isn't a movie.
Very harsh.
He's just not very good, and he has this default, Jared, where he kind of goes to this kind of doe-eyed.
Yeah, doe-eyed, bit of a sneer.
It's just fucking awful. It's not acting, mate. And again, we're not actors,
No.
but I think I've seen enough movies to know what a
Yeah.
good performance is and what a bad one is. And
I
this
think,
is not good.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I'd agree with you there.
It's not good.
I mean, I'm not fucking Lee Strasberg or whatever his name is, but I think I can tell you
I
that's not great.
haven't studied the Strasbourg Institute.
I think if I saw this, I could yell, cut, go again.
No, look.
Any
we're gonna have
direction?
to-
No, just better than that.
No, I'm just going, we're going to have to let you go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, mate. Like, that's
Lee, anything to offer? Just give me something else. Just give me
anything.
anything.
A bit angrier.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
something.
The method. Try method.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Be an asshole kid. Okay, you've already got that. There's no character development. You
No.
don't really know Furlong. You don't really know Drew that well.
Yeah, and it seems kind of mixed up. Like it seems to kind of bounce around to characters that get underused. And
I mean, there's that girl who comes as like their pair or something.
Yeah.
And fuck.
I've got a bit to say about that
That's
later.
ludicrous.
Down
Like,
the,
none
down
of
the
it
stretch,
works at
that,
all.
yeah, down the stretch, that really shows why it doesn't work. But yeah,
Get there.
that in particular. But I also feel like, as you said, that they kind of get a bit mixed up between Furlong and Drew and Clancy Brown and representing him as like an opposite to Furlong, what Furlong's missing, and
Yeah, it was a bit too convoluted, and the script wasn't strong enough to overcome all that.
I mean, because Jesus, if I'd have spent any time at Drew's house around Clancy Brown, I'd have been wandering out of the place going, Jesus.
I'd have been like,
lucky my
sleepovers are at
parents
my
died."
place only, dude.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
having them at your place, or I'll get fucking knifed in the night.
Yeah. You also mentioned Renee's death as a like. I mean, I liked it for similar reasons, but I had to put it in the dislikes because I was fucking. It comes off as slightly comedic.
Yeah, true.
And I don't know if that's intentional.
No.
Like, I think it's supposed to be a little bit crazy and a little bit out there. But I mean, when they show multiple shots of her where it's clear it's just the actress holding onto the bars, fucking shaking and yelling, and then they lift her head off and it's fucking smoking. I kind of laughed. They kind of just grab her by the head and sort of peel it back, and it's just this smoke sort of pouring out of it. I was like, oh,
for fuck's
God.
sake. And also, like, something like that, just have one of the lights fall from the roof and
Yeah,
land
just
on her.
fucking clock her, and then she's done.
makes better.
You don't
it's
have
more,
to.
It's better
You don't have to tell.
theatrically.
You don't have to tell a good actor to sit there and look up and go ah! and fucking shake the bars and shit like that.
Correct.
Like, yeah.
The film's a bit slow, Jared. It
Yeah,
comes
in
alive in that
portions.
last 25 minutes. It really
Yeah.
steps. But early on, she's a bit slow going.
I would agree in terms of like kills and stuff for sure.
Yeah, but even like Furlong and the bullies and that, like that stuff kind of drags on for a while.
Yeah.
Including an absolutely ridiculous sequence where they throw a fucking dummy at him, and his reaction is so over the top.
I know.
And he's screaming like an asshole.
Well, he is an asshole, but I think it's like it is. I
He's
don't,
like,
I don't necessarily think it's slow. I think it moves through lots of shit, but as you said,
None of it's
like,
going anywhere.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that what
It
you
takes a
mean?
long while with the bullies. It takes a while for the kills. But it's fucking moving through all sorts of shit in between. So, yeah.
Speaking of the bullies, why was, like, dudes wearing, like, earrings that were dangling down? Well, when was that cool? And why? Because as soon as
Wherever, was it Santa Clara where the Lost Boys were hanging out?
might have been, but they cut to the bully the first time you see him, and he's like, you're looking over at Furlong like,
Yeah.
okay,
But you know what else? He's dressed like something out of the Breakfast Club. He's got a duffel coat and a scarf and shit, or is that later on? I think
that's later on.
But I'm looking at him going, dude, who put you in fucking charge of this club?
Yeah. Who said you were fucking cool? Jesus Christ, have a
Yeah.
look at yourself.
Yeah. But also, adding to that, what the fuck are you doing bringing a kitten to school?
Yeah, I don't know.
Thinking you'll sneak it under your coat for the day.
I mean, you know what? When it's been in an environment like that, it dies. You know what I mean?
It's like a hot car under there.
You were wearing a leather jacket.
But what makes you think that you're going to get through a whole school day without, when the class is sort of quieting down, without the kitten going meow and fucking giving the game away, or even worse, shitting under your coat?
You got a pocket
which
full
it's
of
gonna
bits
do.
of shit.
Exactly. You idiot. Just quite simply, you're a fucking idiot. They should have made that
Your
sequence.
dad's a vet. He should have fucking engaged in a conversation with him about
Where's
kitten
Tiger?
care.
What are you doing with Tiger when you go to school? Oh, she's just fucking. It's under
She's in
my
my
coat.
pocket.
What?
Look, I've accidentally killed her.
No one's coming to my business if they find this out. You fucking idiot.
bozo.
So yeah, that made. I mean, it's one of those things in movies where there's some things that you just cop, but that one was one where I was just looking like, no, you're a fucking idiot if you did that.
Yeah.
Not that I agree with what the bullies do to the kitten, but I'm just looking at the whole scene going, the kitten's not even there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Stupid. This is where things start to fall apart for me. Like, they bury that dog up in the burial ground.
Yep.
And that sequence before has some emotion. But the way they react when the dog comes back,
yeah,
it's ludicrous. The fucking Drew basically shrugs his shoulders and goes, "Man."
Well, here's where I bring up the issue that there's no Judd Crandall in the movie.
Yeah.
There's nobody with any knowledge of this. You're handing it, like you're passing it down. Oh, yeah, I heard the Creed family had some shit going on. But as you said, like Drew is, well, I kind of mentioned that Drew's a Judd Crandall, and as we kind of sort of spoke about, he doesn't know shit. He doesn't know what's going on about anything.
And so the dog comes back still bleeding from a hole in
and
its
you
fucking
kind of
guts.
said he just kind of looks at it and goes, eh.
It's like, what the fuck?
There's not even a level of excitement that the dog's back, that this worked.
Yeah.
And like, I can understand if you're going to go with, okay, well, there's no Judd Crandall, there's no one that knows about it. We're all working from what happened to the Creed family, but nobody fucking knows about it.
Scuttlebutt and shit.
Yeah,
and
so
rumour.
this actually worked, but he's fucking excited to have his dog back. That doesn't happen. He just kind of goes,
the dog should be normal to start with.
Yeah.
And then start to show traits and maybe attacks Clancy Brown or something.
Well,
like, you know what I mean?
It had those brief moments where it was just sitting in the chair when people were asleep and stuff. There should have been more of that, I think. But yeah, the whole lack of anyone with any idea about what is going on with the burial ground. And not only that, but the Pet Sematary looks, I mean, the Micmac burial ground beyond the Pet Sematary looks as accessible as ever.
Well, that's what I said to you. You've got two fucking kids. One of them is grossly out of shape. He's not getting up there.
And they get up there, but then get back with what seems to be, they give you the impression with Anthony Edwards, ripping into Edward Furlong, that it's pretty late. But that's about it. But also, you see the shot of the deadfall with the keep outside, and you're like, that is not a deterrent to any of these fucking juvenile delinquents. They clamber over that shit in 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
And fucking everyone in town has investigated what's going up there. Bloodlines, we kind of brought up the fact that the sheriff makes a comment that makes it sound like he's fucking driving his car up there every night.
Yeah. I went past the burial ground last night to check to make sure there were no fucking interlopers. What? Yeah, there's a fucking track up there. What are you talking
I
about?
believe this was hard to get to. But this makes it look equally as easy to get to. Like, we clamber over that, then we just fucking drag a body for a couple hundred metres.
But also,
We're at the Big Mac burial ground. And there's no one there saying, no, stop. Whoever put the get outside can't be fucking bothered to fucking stand up there and erect like a barbed wire fence or anything around it.
Exactly. But this is also another bit that I was sort of flabbergasted by. Why the fuck did you bury Clancy Brown up there?
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were going with we've killed him and we don't want anyone
we
to
don't
know.
want the repercussions.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll bring him back so he's a fucking lunatic. No one will pick up on it. His throat's ripped out.
Yeah. No one will notice.
He's skinning rabbits.
Yeah.
Eating them.
No, I think it
non-stop.
was, as you pointed out, I think it's just a poorly sort of drawn out. We don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, I know, but fuck.
But
He's an absolute asshole.
Eddie Furlong just looks at it with the kind of half-closed eyes and the kind of...
Yeah, he has fucking shitheads. There's something like that, you fucking idiot. But also, Aaron, if I'm Eddie Furlong, I'm going, I saw nothing. I had
what are you
nothing to do
talking
with
about?
it. I had nothing to do
Well,
with it.
isn't Clancy Brown's going to be the one investigating? If Clancy Brown's running the town and he's flouting laws all over the place, imagine what the deputies are doing. They're not going to find anything.
Exactly. Those fucking dickheads are having a night off. But also, as you said, these two 15-year-olds lugged a fucking 90-kilogram dead body up to the burial ground and dug a 6-foot grave.
Yeah. But I can believe it after seeing the deadfall. I mean, I can pick that they got over that. But how far away is... Because this is what I sort of mentioned about the book where this is where they talk about the Wendigo and all that sort of stuff. And it makes it seem like it's a fucking trek. It's a real arduous fucking journey to get there, which kind of, as you said,
plays
the
back
depths
in.
of the grief.
This is what I would do. I would drag this person this far
or the depths
to bury them because I'm grieving.
Like I said, if it was your fucking goldfish where you think about, what I had to do to get this person back, I'll just flush the goldfish.
Maybe there's a sewer pipe that runs past the Big Mac burial ground and the sheriff can drive up and bury it up.
The fucking pipe's not blocked. Yeah, you tell the kids,
shit.
Goldie's in the Goldie's in the Pet Sematary. Shh.
Oh, for fuck's sake, honestly.
Yeah, no, I took the goldfish.
Jared.
I took the goldfish and I buried it in the Pet Sematary, but I forgot to bring a fucking jar of water.
I buried it in the Pet Cemetery's toilet.
And it's a septic, unfortunately, so she's not floating around in it.
Yeah, Goldie's gone, mate. I'm sorry to tell you. But, Jared, it would take like 2 days for those two kids to dig 6 feet
Well, that's what
into the ground.
Not only the digging, but getting there with the body.
Yes.
That's what I'm.
They could not
led to
carry
believe.
him. Like,
No, fuck no.
How? How would you carry him?
He's been eating so many rabbits, you couldn't fucking carry him anywhere.
His fucking gross body would be making noises and fucking
I was kind of waiting for him to zap himself on his own fucking rabbit. Him to come in with the young and serious kind of hair saying, dinner's ready.
Yeah. Fucking hell, that would have been great. That would have been great. Now, this is where things start to get a bit weird, Jared. The dream sequence involving Chase having sex with his
And
wife.
Zowie's head.
And Zowie's head.
Fucking hell. They do it twice. They do it first with no sex involved, but then they decide to throw it in there and just throws in passion as well. Zowie's got a set of boobs.
I was loving it. I thought it was the fucking funniest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
It looked like something out of Howling 4 or Howling 3 marsupials.
This is where these are the sequences where I look at it and go, am I missing some symbolism? Or is this just stupid?
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's commonly known as stupidity.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree. That was
It was
hilarious.
supposed to be scary too. I was like,
No,
fucking hell.
no.
You guys have lost the plot on that.
But they also decide to do that. The only times they show Zowie fucking sitting over the bed, they fucking lead in with that. So, I reckon it would have been better to have him waking up over, like they did with Church, where the cat's just fucking sitting there looking at people and stuff like that.
Unnerving kind of feel about it. The cat's not runging. So the problem with Zowie is she's immediately roaming around, fucking carrying on like an ass
on the fucking head of a
naked
human
woman.
person multiple times. It doesn't work. Doesn't work for me.
Look, the last thing for me was, I think pretty much from the get go that Mum's going to be brought back.
Yeah.
And it undercuts it a little bit. You find out, she's been brought back. Oh, well, fuck. I mean, those kids buried how many people up there? Holy shit. Like, they dragged 3 full-sized bodies up there.
So, again, this is where the people in town that actually do know what's going on. How many other people are getting around? Timmy Bateman's probably been buried 3 or 4 times by now.
Look, I tell you what, kill him and fucking bury him up there again.
I want to find out what happens if you double bury someone.
I know. He came back as an absolute lunatic. If we double bury him, will he come back as a better bloke?
Honestly, I would have preferred if fucking Judd Crandall came back in this one.
Yeah, exactly. It undercuts it because you kind of know that she's going to come back.
Well, I got the same issues that I do with Bloodlines in that I think there's different angles to look at this from and different ways to go with it, but they just half-assed it again.
Yeah.
So,
well, this is
I don't have issues with I said it at the time. I think Bloodlines took the right approach. Take the fucking Timmy Bateman story and do it, but they just didn't do it very well.
Cocked it up.
Yeah. So I got a couple more to go with it. Number 1. It's severely lacking, and this comes down to what I said about no Judd Crandall. It's severely lacking the whole dead is better sort of thing to really drive home the grief, what people will do when they're fucking really missing an important part of their life that's gone and whatever, and not having a Judd Crandall to fucking give us the whole thing about the ground being sour. I think the movie really takes an approach that everyone's already seen the first one. But I think that still doesn't, even if you've seen the first one, you're still missing those parts of it.
Yes, agreed.
You're still lacking somebody who can fucking be the voice of reason even though Judd Crandall's the one that fucking says, you shouldn't do this, but I'll tell you exactly how to do it. Like, but.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it,
but if you're going to,
I'll help you.
Let me know.
Let me know. I like a trip
drive us up there.
Yeah, I know a track. This fucking local sheriff told me about it back in the day. Apparently he drove up there every night. So I've got a shortcut. Just grab the ute. We'll fucking throw the body in the back and off we go. So there's that part of it that I think is severely lacking and really hurts it. But also, and I think that fits into exactly what you're talking about, the lack of characterization for anybody.
Yeah.
And I come back to the housekeeper.
Yeah.
So
what was the point of that?
It feels like a role that was cut down.
Yes, because it felt like that was meant to be a romantic sort of foil, which would piss Furlong off even further.
It seems like as soon as you see her,
because he said to her, "You're not my mother."
Yeah, and as soon as she starts talking about, I really idolised your mum or your wife or whatever. I can't remember the exact words, but she puts it out there that she knows who the deceased party is.
She does turn up at the end in the dress.
Yes.
But other than that, her role is just diminished.
No, and I feel like clearly there was something supposed to be happening there that, as you said, starts to twist up Edward Furlong's feelings about she's trying to replace the mother or whatever, and it just feels really weird because we get like parts of 3 scenes with her before she decides to go up to the attic and fucking start dressing in the clothes and stuff, which again lends itself to replacing the mother role, which she doesn't actually do because she's not in it enough. It's fucking weird.
It is.
So yeah, it just feels like something that just wasn't sort of used, and so by extension, when we see that she gets killed, or we don't see that she gets killed because she just screams and it's off screen.
Yeah,
it just feels a bit odd.
Yeah,
like it's something that was supposed to be developed that wasn't.
Yeah, it's not developed at all, and it feels like it should be because of the way he reacts to her. Actually.
Yeah. And so the ending, which I do enjoy, but this is my last dislike, is, as I said, I enjoy it for what it is, but it's just wrapping up the whole, scary movie element without any of the substance. And the fact that she starts screaming out, "Daddy's better," makes it worse because we didn't even fucking engage in that through the whole movie.
Yeah, she just yells it out.
She just yells it out, "Daddy's better, Daddy's better." And I'm like, well, that just makes me wish there was a fucking Judd Crandall type that knew something about the fucking Pet Sematary. I would have preferred if there was almost a carbon copy of the character that could just tell you, this is what goes on. Or
that would have helped,
I don't
Jared.
know.
That would have helped.
Yeah, because Lewis is a smart guy who is overcome with
massive amounts of grief.
These dumb fucking teenagers, all of them are fucking morons.
Yeah, exactly.
They've got nobody.
So there is no there's no reasoning behind what they're doing.
What about
apart from the dog?
What about like a Mike from It, like the fucking bookworm who's read up on the town's history and fucking knows about
why wasn't, as you said, why wasn't Drew that?
Yeah. Well, he was, but he didn't know anything.
So you put a character there that's supposed to do that role, and then you give them nothing.
I mean, Drew was this close to going.
Yeah. Drew was fucking scratching his balls in his room. That was it.
Yes. So,
oh shit.
It just the ending when she started screaming that out just fucking rubbed me the wrong way.
It did. It was very irritating.
Yeah.
But is that it?
That's it for me. I still gave it a 3.
Okay, holy shit, man! You're.
What's wrong with? I'm a fucking idiot too.
Yeah, look, but
that's
aren't we all? Aren't we all?
That characterisation has been well
established. Well, that was Pet Sematary 2. Find us on Podomatic, iTunes, and Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcast. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, and at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. Also on Instagram at thrillmepodcastau. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for the next episode. But until then, take it easy, everyone, and we'll catch you all later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.